In California, when Mace went to basketball game, they told him, we want Puff. I believe that women have been coming out, but nobody was listening. You understand? Nobody wanted to. I seen Trump, Diddy, Al Sharpton, and Wendy Williams in the same room having a conversation together before
The collab of the century just went down. We got Jaguar Wright and Jane Deal in the same house, and fans know for sure that Diddy's somewhere sweating buckets right now. In a candid interview, the two whistleblowers matched notes on what they knew about Diddy, and y'all, it's the hottest tea ever shared.
Puff ain't the Puff. Puff had different phases of his life that y'all don't understand. And let's get down to the nitty gritty of it. You understand? First you got Puff Daddy, who had Daddy's house and the parties and things like that. Then you had Puff. You understand? Then you had Diddy. Then you had Brother Love, and then Love. I had Puff around the stage when he was Puff Daddy and Puff and some of Diddy. Not the new Diddy that they gave the diddler and everything like that. So he ain't the guy, he wasn't the guy that y'all see now back then when he was in Harlem. You understand? He was the guy that our crew chased down the street because he was trying to be a part of it, and he ran. You understand? We brought him back, beat the shit out of him, hit him in the head with cake spoon, with champagne and all the other shit like that. He was wanted to be a part of us. He was the one who used to beg, don't go to the party, please, please, I'm on my way, so he could walk in the club with us.
Heck, he even brought up Papa Combs.
I learned from his pops, one of the biggest gangsters in Harlem, New York Freddie, right? The police said they went to New York Freddie's house in Mount Vernon, and he had stacks of $100 bills 6 feet high in the whole basement. That's how much money he had. He was the one who started Russell Simmons. They won't tell y'all this story. He was the one who started Russell Simmons and them into the music business because he had a record label first that Russell Simmons used to work for. So now, New York Freddie want to talk to Big Gene. One of his lieutenants back in the day, if you see his story, his name was Omar. Omar was our OG from 112th Street, 114th Street. They used to come around with us. They used to love the food I used to cook because I'm a hell of a cook. You know what I'm saying? So now, Omar said, yo, New York Freddie want to talk to you, Gene. I told him he used to bodyguard Puff because he want to talk to Puff and tell Puff the real story about his father. So I said, yeah, all right. So I'm like, New York Freddie. I knew my history. I knew what New York Freddie was about. So I went and took a meeting with New York Freddie. He said, New York Freddie said to me, he said, yo, man, I've been trying to get in touch with Puff. Russell Simmons, none of them would take my calls. It's all good. He said, I want to tell Puff the true story about his father. And I said, yo, all right, okay, you know, what's up? You're gonna listen to those guys. You understand? So New York Freddie said, Puff father sold some drugs to one of their undercover guys. You understand? They arrested him because they had cops on the payroll to, you know, see what you about. He said they brought him the tape and the written confession that Puff father signed. So I was like, yo, he said, we gave him $10,000. It was a New York City cop. He worked for them. He said, we gave him $10,000. Puff father said that he only told because he had a wedding to go to, which I thought was hilarious. You understand? This is coming from New York Freddie. So he said that I wanted to talk to Puff, but he wouldn't take my calls, he wouldn't see me. He said, I wanted to let him know that I told the guy, y'all gotta get rid of him. Y'all brought him in.
Jane then fired his cannon of truth that Tupac shook her. For years, the rapper's passing has been a pressing secret in the industry, and there's one name that manages to always pop up. Diddy. There have been reports about Diddy hiring Keith to take out Tupac because he wanted the rap scene to himself. According to Keith and other sources in the business, Diddy even put a bounty on Tupac's head.
Once they figured out they couldn't get me, they stick the people from downtown on me. You know what I'm saying? The big boys. That's wrong, man. They should have just kept the shit straight. You know what I'm saying? He should have kept this shit street. I really didn't like that. He told the first night. Didn't nobody give me no grief or nothing. You know what I'm saying? They told the first night, man. Keefy D nephew. What the fuck you saying my fucking name for? Trying to kill off the head of the snake, dude. Then they pull over the 60 keys, you know what I'm saying? His boy Reynolds, that work for Suge. He's on that right way thing. He pull over my 60 keys, trying to, you know what I'm saying? They trying to do anything to get me, you know? But I was sharp, boy. My knife was sharp, boy, you know?
After the Vegas incident, right? You met up with Von Zup in LA, right?
Yeah, at Hot Wings, LA Hot Wings. Was that on La Cienega and 3rd? Or is that Melrose? Right around the corner from Pink's. I think that's Melrose.
Oh, I'm from Houston. So
Oh, yeah. Melrose and La Brea right there at the LA Hot Wings.
So tell me about that. How that came about and what was said. Because Puffy called too, right?
Yeah, him and Biggie's wife. What's her name?
Faith Evans?
Yeah.
So tell me about that. Them 2 calls and everything.
He just asked, was that us?
Who said that?
Puff did. I'm like, yeah. Yeah, Zip told him did.
What about Faith? What did she say when she called?
That's who they was mostly communicating with. That's who was fine with. Zip was communicating with.
And I'm gonna throw his name out there because he's arrested right now.
But check it out. Don't brain wrestle with me, man. If you gotta say something, say what you gotta say. Yeah. Do what you gotta do, man. You know, this is your money, your time, bro. Come on, let's do this.
Keefy D was arrested. There was words of $10,000 that was supposed to get in somebody's hands. When Tupac was murdered.
$10,000.
Let's just say
I ain't heard that story.
Yeah, I might be off on a number, but amount of number was supposed to get in somebody's hands, but it didn't quite make it there. This is through the Keefy D Vlad series, to where anything that, as far as again, not saying who was what, but because that happened, because Tupac was murdered, that some money was to be exchanged. It didn't happen. Did you ever hear any rumblings of someone didn't get paid?
However, sadly, Gene never heard about the bounty. Gene then touched on the passing of Biggie Smalls and what he knows about Diddy's participation. According to him, Diddy knew that there were risks with going to the party that night, but for some reason he didn't care about the consequences. Maybe he knew he was safe and that someone else would bite the dust, which he had been hoping for all along.
Following them is Biggie Smalls, his cousin, and several other members of the entourage in a dark SS Impala pulls up alongside, very similar to what had taken place in Vegas 6 months earlier. An assailant reaches out the window, shoots Biggie several times, and he dies on the way to the hospital. So now the 1997 Biggie Smalls investigation is unfolding, and it's assigned to this guy, Russell Poole, who is an LAPD robbery homicide detective.
Got it. And a part of this, when the shooting happened here and he went to jail, didn't he make an offer to him for $16,000 to say that he wasn't hitting him, he was trying to help him? Did that actually take place?
It did. There's some question as whether it was $16,000 or $60,000.
Okay.
We've gotten different versions of that story.
How did it feel? How did Puffy react when Biggie was killed?
He was distraught, but he was in a daze, because I don't think that he thought it could happen. Because I told him before we left that we go to this party, somebody gonna die tonight, bro. I got a phone call. I got a phone call by 3 credible sources. You understand? Chaz Williams over Black Hands, part of the Guerrilla Black Mafia. Unique from Mecca Audio. And the dude that was running with Jodeci. Now, if people tell you they're not going to a party, and it's supposed to be the lit party of the century, you see Mace didn't show up at the party because he knew something too. And where I could say Mace knew something because the people out in California, when Mace went to basketball game, they told him, we want Puff and we want Big. See, everybody do all these investigations and everything like that, and they don't listen to the people who were there. Like I said before, there were people who wanted Big dead, and there were people who wanted Puff dead. You get it?
Right.
The people that wanted Puff dead, you understand, I thought was a dude from the Nation of Islam that we got into it at Soul Train, right? The people that thought they had something to do with Big Jake dying, which they didn't. That was a part of Death Row or the Bloods. Then you got the guys that Big, what was called the Dog Pound, the guys with the Dog Pound when Big was out there. He was in New York, and the Dog Pound was in New York doing a video.
Yeah.
Big made a phone call to the radio station. I don't know why they aired that shit today and said, yo, New York, y'all let the Dog Pound be in Red Hook and do a video. So now they want Big head. That they video shoot got shot up, bruh. Them bullets ain't have no names on it.
That's a Snoop Dogg video with
Right.
Dog Pound in
Yeah.
New York.
Right. So you understand what I'm saying? All those people and the people who love Pac, when Pac came up there, they thought Big and them may have had something to do with that or whatever. So that's 5 different factions of people that may wanted somebody dead in Bad Boy. So now you get to this. Puff know what Mace told him. Mace ain't tell Big he had that conversation with Big. But I had a conversation with Big them about coming around anywhere we go. Don't come to no parties, don't come nowhere. Cause it's like that.
And just cause I don't know the full story, but May said he was with Brandy, the singer? Or is this Brandy somebody else?
May said he was with Brandy the singer. I was in a hotel room with Mace, with Brandy.
With Brandy, yeah.
Okay. So if you was hotel room with Brandy, why did you make the statement, Brandy called me trying to get me to go to the party? So was she next door to you? She was next to you, y'all both on y'all cell phones and shit? And she said, yo, Mace, we ought to go to the party. He said, Brandy, I'm not going to the party. If you with her, you gotta watch what people say. I'm not saying he wasn't with Brandy at some time, but was he with Brandy after Big got killed or before Big got killed? And this is the biggest party in the industry, the Vibe party, sets the Soul Train after party.
Someone says Diddy set up Biggie to get killed. What do you say to that?
I actually thought that he put Big in a situation and thought that the individuals who was gonna come to do something to Big would have did something or try to do something to Big. I don't believe, I'm trying not to believe that he had anything to do with Big's death.
But it doesn't stop there. According to Jane Women, before Cassie had been speaking up, fans decided to turn a blind eye, which is why it took so long for the truth to come out about Diddy.
It got really crazy that time. We was upstairs and he had we were in his closet and he pushed me and I fell to the ground and then he stood over me. So I was laying on my back and he stood over me and he started punching me like this. He avoided my face, but he started punching me on the side of my head and I was just covering my face. And he did that and then after he got done doing that, he cause he was standing, his legs were in between me, so he stomped on my stomach really hard and I took the wind out of my breath. I couldn't breathe And he kept hitting me, and I was like pleading to him, like, can you stop? I can't breathe. And he like stopped for a little bit. He like grabbed my hair from the back and like was like punching the back of my head, because he was just avoiding my face when he was like hitting me.
Or worried if the cops was gonna knock at my door.
Last thing I have to ask, knowing, of course, what took place, with Kim Porter, what she went through. When the lawsuit came down on Diddy and all the 30 pages, everyone's reading this at one time, and a lot of people aren't believing this before the video came out. When all this, everything that Cassie's saying, and then the lawsuit falls out, did you believe not saying everything in the document, but what was your take on the lawsuit for what it was? From what you heard, what Cassie went through, what was your take on, like, all right, well, he's about to pay that in a day? Because that's what happened.
I believe the girl Gina before Cassie even came out. You understand? I believe what she said and what he did to her. Because I've heard the story about what he did to Misa, his first baby mom. You understand? When he beat her up on the car because he thought she was dealing with Eric Sermon. You understand? I know the situation when I came into the hospital and Kim was looking distraught, bruised. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Kim was looking like she was looking. You understand?
Yeah.
And he holding a bloody t-shirt around his wrist because she cut his wrist. So I know what she may have went through in order to get to that point.
Damn.
So when Cassie was talking about the abuse and the parts that I read, I believed her. Because the lepers don't change their spots.
As for the $1 million question about Diddy going to jail, Jane thinks it's possible if the feds manage to nail him for money laundering charges.
So it's public knowledge that multiple women have come out with accusations against Diddy, whether it be physical abuse, sexual abuse. However, why do you think that women are now coming forward and making it public about what they may have experienced with him in a way that they didn't back then, late 90s, early 2000s?
I don't believe that. I believe that women have been coming out, but nobody was listening. You understand? Nobody wanted to hear it. Did you hear that guy Van from what you call that show, was on TMZ? He said somebody told him the story about Gina years ago, but he didn't want to hear it, and he wasn't going to take it to TMZ because they was in partnership, or Diddy was in power. So he wasn't going to bring it up. Yo, you know how many girls have came to me about other artists? Women have always been telling these stories and wanted somebody to talk to or somebody to do something about it, but nobody would do it. No, the police wouldn't take it. You understand? Lawyers wouldn't take it. Now lawyers see a paycheck. They taking it. And that's what it's about. Women have always been talking about it.
Being the background of the law enforcement, right?
Right.
Is Diddy going to jail?
I think that the easiest thing to do is to get somebody on some money laundering. Diddy have over 18 companies that he was dealing with. He put every business in his children's name or his mother's name. I don't think any of those businesses are straight into his name. So it's got to be some shadiness going on somewhere. The government wouldn't ask for all the IRS papers. You understand? All the tax papers for the last 3 years of any of his companies if they didn't think something was going on. You understand? So if he doesn't go for any of the assaults or something like that, I don't know, It may be something having to do with tax evasion, money laundering, or something like that. Or maybe even drugs or something. Because you know they have that guy, Jonathan Odie.
Yeah.
You understand?
Jaguar then finished it by calling out the people who bashed the pair for speaking the truth. The truth is that things would have been a lot worse for his victims had they not been there.
Because for us, we get a lot of flack for just telling the truth. And the truth is the only thing I would say that we're doing is just being accountable for what we saw and being accountable for the hell it started. You know, what a lot of people don't realize is right now in this moment, everybody's looking at, oh, well, Diddy's is bad. What about this person? What about that person? And people love tying people's names and things without really thinking about it. And Luther Campbell has some interesting things to say about former bad boy security. So I want to say it right now with this man present. If he was not there, I can only imagine how much worse things would have been and could have gotten.
Right.
This is the man.
And like I told these guys now, people who commit crimes with criminals.
Yeah, they do.
I ain't never been no criminal.
No.
And I'm never gonna let anybody get harmed. I'm always intersected. I'm 10 steps in front of.
But what do you think of the situation? Do you think Jaguar and Deal are telling the truth? Are Diddy's victims going to get justice in this lifetime? Let us know in the comments part below.